Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Girivardhari Jashoda Nandana Brajajana Jasora Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Girivardhari Jashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Sri Radha Madhava ki jai, Sri Radha Giridhari ki jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivraj Gajaja Shodhara Shri Srimad is Divine Grace Abhai Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivraj Gajaja Shodhara Shri Srimad is Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Saranta Saraswati Gosam Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. ISKCON Foundercharya, BBT Foundercharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantara Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Samveda Bhakti ki jai, Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, assembled devotees, all glories, CC Guru and Sri Guranga. Krishna Staya Guru Shmati Pati Varanta, Gauravani Pacharini, Nivishesha Shanyavari Pashkatyari. Hare Krishna. So this morning we're reading the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. This is going to be text 23. Is anyone here familiar with text 23? Sounds familiar. And we'll be reading the second half of the purport as requested by the glorious temple management. Okay. So text 23. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is not Brahma Samhita, it's the one below it, right? Yeah. Ayam chatasya stiti palanakshana Satvam jushanasya bhavaya dehinam Tasmad vrajama sharanam jagadguru Swanam sano dasyati Swanam sano dasyati surapriya Ayam chatasya stiti palanakshana Satvam jushanasya bhavaya dehinam Tasmad vrajama sharanam jagadgurum Swanam sano dasyati surapriya Ayam chatasya stiti palanakshana Satvam jushanasya bhavaya dehinam Tasmad vrajama sharanam jagadgurum Swanam sano dasyati surapriya. Anyone like to chant?
Tasmad vrajama sharanam jagadgurum Svanam sano dasyati surapriya Ayam chatasya stiti palanakshana Satvam jushanasya bhavaya dehinam Tasmad vrajama sharanam jagadgurum Svanam sano
dasyati surapriya. Ladies? Ayam chatasya stiti palanakshana Satvam jushashnasya bhavaya dehinam Tasmad vrajama sharanam jagadgurum Swanam sanadasyati surapriya. Any of our online audience?
Ayam chatasya stiti palanakshana
Ayam chatasya stiti palanakshana
Satvam jushanasya bhavaya dehinam
Sattva junasya bhavaya dehinam
Tasmad vrajama sharanam jagadgurum
Tasmad vrajama sharanam jagadgurum
Svanam sano dasyati surapriyaha
Svanam chana dasyati surapriya. Synonyms. Ayam, this period. Cha, also. Tasya, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Stiti, palana, kshana, the time for maintenance or for establishing his rule. Sattvam, the mode of goodness. Jushanasya, accepting, now without waiting. Bhavaya, for the increased development or establishment. Dehinam, of all living entities who accept material bodies. Tasmat, therefore, Brajamaha, let us take Sharanam, shelter, Jagadgurum, at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the universal teacher. Swanam, his own persons. Saha, he, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Naha, unto us. Dashyati, will give. Sham, the good fortune we need. Surapriyaha, because he is naturally very dear to the devotees. Good try, Govardhan. We knew what you're trying to say. Translation. Now is the time to invoke the mode of goodness of the living entities who have accepted material bodies. The mode of goodness is meant to establish the Supreme Lord's rule, which will maintain the existence of the creation. Therefore, this is the opportune moment to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he is naturally very kind and dear to the demigods. He will certainly bestow good fortune upon us. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksur Unminitam Ninataismai Sri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Dina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityanando Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Banchakapatarupascha Kripa Sindhu Bheva Patidanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So by all of your ardent prayers and good wishes, I'll try to say something. So we have a Russian devotee and a Mexican devotee cooking in the kitchen. Is that like Moscow Tex instead of Tex-Mex? What's the breakfast going to be like? What they're going to call it, right? What do they call it? Tex-Mex. So it's going to be Moscow Mex, like that. Moscow Mex breakfast. So it's really quite interesting. So I wanted to pick up in the purport for the second time. Srila Prabhupada quotes the Kalir Doshe Nidhe Rajan verse. So he begins, let me just bring it up here. Whoops, Hare Krishna. I'm going the wrong way with this fancy stuff here. Chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is potent always. That question came up some time back in one of the classes. It's always been there. Why in Kali Yuga? But it is especially potent in the age of Kali. Therefore, Shukadev Goswami, while instructing Maharaj Parikshit, stressed this chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. Kalir dosha nidhe rajan haste eko mahadguna kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sangha param brajet. My dear king, although Kali Yuga is full of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. It is that simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. There's the 12th canto, 3rd chapter, 51st verse. Those who have accepted the task of spreading the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in full Krishna consciousness should take this opportunity to deliver people very easily from the clutches of material existence. Our duty, therefore, is to follow the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and preach the Krishna conscious movement all over the world very sincerely. This is the best welfare activity for the peace and prosperity of human society. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement consists of spreading Krishna Sankirtan, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. All glories to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Why is it so glorious? I was asking that question. Why is it so glorious? This has also been explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaito Darpana Marjanam. By the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, one's heart is cleansed. The whole difficulty, not like 50% or 5%. Prabhupada says the whole difficulty, the whole thing, here it is, here's the whole difficulty. The whole difficulty is that in this age of Kali, there is no sattva gun and no clearance of the heart, and therefore people are making the mistake of identifying with their bodies. The other day, we were discussing a prominent philosopher, Thomas Huxley, who was proud of being an Englishman. This means that he was in the bodily conception of life. Everywhere we find this same misunderstanding. As soon as one is in the bodily conception of life, one is nothing but an animal like a cat or dog. Saeva gokara. Thus, the most dangerous of the dirty things within our hearts. Okay. Let's say we got some dirty things in our heart. Prabhupada saying here, what's the most dangerous thing? What's the most dangerous contamination in the heart? Is misidentification of the body as the self. Under the influence of this misunderstanding, one thinks, I am this body, I'm an Englishman, I'm an Indian, I'm an American, I'm a Hindu, I'm a Muslim. This misconception is the strongest impediment and must be removed. That is the instruction of Bhagavad-gītā and of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Indeed, Bhagavad-gītā begins with this instruction, Denusmin yata dehe kumaram yovaram jara tatate hantara praptir diras tatara namuyati. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Bhagavad-gītā, 2nd chapter, 13th verse. Although the soul is within the body, nevertheless, because of misunderstanding and animal propensities, one accepts the body as the self. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore says, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. To cleanse the core of the heart, which is full of misunderstanding, is possible only through the Sri Krishna Sankirtan. The leaders of the Krishna conscious movement should very seriously take this opportunity to be kind to the fallen souls by delivering them from the misunderstanding of materialistic life. One cannot be happy in any way within this. One cannot be happy in any way within this material world, as stated in the Bhagavad-gītā. Abrahma bhuvana loka puna arvartino arjuna. From the highest plant in the material world down to the lowest, all the places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. Therefore, what's the therefore in Sanskrit? Does anyone know? Sometimes verses begin with the word tasmat. Therefore, so tasmat, not to speak of going to the moon, even if one is promoted to the highest planetary system, Brahmaloka, there cannot be any happiness in this material world. Every once in a while, Brahma gets that phone call, right, or text message. We got a Haranyakasipu. We got a this. He's got to come all the way down and deal with the situation, right? So he's disturbed from time to time. If one actually wants happiness, one must go to the spiritual world. The material world is characterized by a struggle for existence, and survival of the fittest is a well-known principle, but the poor souls of this material world do not know what is survival and who is fit. Survival does not mean that one should die. Survival means that one should not die, but should enjoy an everlasting, blissful life of knowledge. This is survival. The Krishna conscious movement is meant to make every person fit for survival. Indeed, it is meant to stop the struggle for existence. The Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Bhagavad-gītā give definite instructions on how to stop the struggle of material existence and how to survive in eternal life. The Sankirtan movement, therefore, is a great opportunity. Simply by hearing Bhagavad-gītā and chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one becomes completely purified. Thus, the struggle for existence ceases, and one goes back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So Prabhupada explains this chanting Hare Krishna is always potent, but is especially potent in the age of Kali. And he backs that up by saying it's stressed in this verse from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. It says the age of Kali is like a dosha, means it's a very nice South Indian preparation, isn't it? Dosha? No. Okay, it's an ocean, means ocean, right? Ocean of faults. No, nidhe, fault, it means faults, and nidhe means ocean. So, and Prabhupada says, makes the point that Sukadeva Goswami referred to some of these faults earlier. Did you read these yesterday? Okay. No, okay, so I want to read a little bit from the 12th canto, what he's talking about. And then he finished it off saying, he just explained what the ocean is. And then, so here's Kali Yuga. Like that. And it's not, should come as no surprise to anyone because we're all living in Kali Yuga. But here's a few verses, about 6 or 7 verses. So it's text 30, 12:3:30. When there is a predominance of cheating, lying, sloth. What's sloth? Laziness. Okay, we said that with such enthusiasm. You must have overcome it. Sleepiness, violence, depression. That's a big problem today, isn't it? Depression, huge problem. People are really depressed. Lamentation, bewilderment, fear, and poverty. That age is Kali. Okay, the age of the mode of ignorance. So, because of the bad qualities of the age of Kali, human beings will become short-sighted. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean the problem with their eyes. It just means short-sighted means they're not going to be, someone who's short-sighted, they don't see the whole picture and they make all kinds of mistakes, foolishness. Unfortunate, gluttonous. What does gluttonous mean? Eating too much. Lustful and poverty-stricken. The women, becoming unchaste, will freely wander from one man to the next. The men are already doing that, so just that women now join them, right? Cities will be dominated by thieves. The Vedas will be contaminated by speculative interpretations of atheists. Political leaders will virtually consume the citizens. Delicious citizens. Eat them all up. That means take all their money. Okay. Okay. And the so-called priests and intellectuals will be devotees of their bellies and genitals. The brahmacharis, okay guys, watch out for this one. The brahmacharis will fail to execute their vows and become generally unclean. The householders will become beggars. That's a fact. The vanaprasts will live in the villages. They're supposed to live outside the village, but they go, oh, I'll just stay at home. I do. Like that. And the sannyasis will become greedy for wealth. Just got to be careful for these things. Women will become much smaller in size. Okay? And they will eat too much. And have more children than they can properly take care of. And lose all shyness. They will always speak harshly and will exhibit qualities of thievery, deceit, and unrestrained audacity. They become just like men, in other words. Like that. Businessmen will engage in petty commerce and earn their money by cheating. Even when there is no emergency, people will consider any degraded occupation quite acceptable. So in other words, when there is an emergency, whatever you need to do to survive, you may give up your medical, whatever. It's allowed in emergencies, but they'll do it anyways. Servants will abandon a master who has lost his wealth, even if that master is a saintly person of exemplary character. Masters will abandon an incapacitated servant, even if that servant has been in the family for generations. As Sridhar Maharaj is explaining about the royalty in England, in Europe, I guess, in general, hundreds of years ago, you had the castle and the king and the royalty, dukes and this and that. And then, of course, they had their, like a village around them, with the people growing fruit and vegetable, whatever, taking care of, But actually, it was that royal person's responsibility to take care of everyone in that area. And if he didn't, he was actually getting in trouble, It was understood that he took care. Someone was sick. He made sure they would take care. He and the queen, or royalty, duke or lady, and this and that. They're very responsible. Anyone, let alone servants in the castle or in your manor, but just people in the area, it was understood you had to make sure they had plenty of food and taking care of medical problems, whatever it is. That was what you did. Otherwise, you weren't fulfilling your position as a person of royalty. So it's saying here, Wi-Fi? If it was available, they could probably get it, free Wi-Fi. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, during the time. Because, that's a big thing.
And it says here, your masters will abandon incapacitated servant. Oh, no, get rid of him. No, you have to take care of him. Cows will be abandoned or killed when they stop giving milk. Well, that's Kali Yuga for sure. In Kali Yuga, men will be wretched and controlled by women. They will reject their fathers, brothers, other relatives and friends, and will instead associate with the sisters and brothers of their wives. That's interesting. Thus, their conception of friendship will be based exclusively on sexual ties. Uncultured men will accept charity on behalf of the Lord and will earn their livelihood by making a show of austerity and wearing a mendicant's dress. Prabhupada tells a story about staying at that one dharmashala. He noticed every day there was a beggar kind of next to him. In the morning he'd get up and put on saffron cloth and go out, come back. He was faking it like he was a mendicant. Those who know nothing about religion will mount a high seat and presume to speak on religious principles. Should I get down now? No. Okay. I just got exposed. Okay. 39 and 40. We're getting close to the end here. In the age of Kali, people's minds will always be agitated. They will become emaciated by famine and taxation, my dear king, and will always be disturbed by fear of drought. They will lack adequate clothing, food, and drink, will be unable to properly rest, have sex, or bathe themselves, and will have no ornaments to decorate their bodies. In fact, the people of Kali Yuga will gradually come to appear like ghostly, haunted creatures. It's called the Gothic look, right? Is that what they call it? Gothic? They're pushing it already, right? In the age of Kali, men will develop hatred for each other, even over a few coins. Giving up all friendly relations, they will be ready to lose their own lives and kill even their own relatives. Men will no longer protect their elderly parents, their children, or their respectable wives. Thoroughly degraded, they will care only to satisfy their own bellies and genitals. And the last one I selected. O king, in the age of Kali, people's intelligence will be diverted by atheism, and they will almost never offer sacrifice to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Spiritual Master of the universe. Although the great personalities who control the three worlds all bow down to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, the petty and miserable human beings of this age will not do so. So what do you think? Anyone want to sign up for Kali Yuga? Okay. So, but he's saying here, it's an ocean of faults. We just read some of them. But there is Eko, one, Mahan Guna, amazing, one absolutely amazing quality about Kali Yuga. On one hand, it seems to be the worst age, like the beginning of Tale of Two Cities. Are you a man of literature, Shankarshan? Tale of Two Cities? How does that begin? Yes, that's how it begins. So Kali Yuga is like that. It's the best of times and the worst of times. Kirtana Deva Krishnasya, the chanting of Krishna's name, Mukta Sangha Parambhajet, can easily give one mukti, liberation, back home, back to Godhead. But one can become discouraged hearing this whole list, but on the other hand, you have this, it's amazing, just by the chanting Hare Krishna. And Prabhupada says it's always potent, but especially potent in the age of Kali, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a Yuga avatar has brought it to the forefront and distributing everywhere as the medicine to wipe out the age of Kali in people's hearts. You know, there's that story about the two shoe salesmen. You know that story? Nike. I'll use Nike as an example. They wanted to get into Africa. They wanted to so they picked two very good salesperson to go to Africa, like Zimbabwe or something, and sell shoes, sneakers. Okay, so they sent them off. Then they came back, and one of the salesmen said, I can't sell sneakers there. No one wears shoes. No one wears any shoes. I couldn't sell a sneaker. The other one says, I need a whole freighter full of shoes. No one wears shoes there, so I sold people who wear shoes. I sold them all shoes. So same place, two salesmen. So Kali Yuga is like that. It's an ocean of fun. You think, oh no, how we can't preach to anyone. Look at all these qualities. People are really in Maya. They won't take to Krishna consciousness. They're just so fallen. Even Prabhupada was standing on the Jaladuna, and what did he say? he's seeing the people in the West so covered by the lower modes of material nature. He said, how will they ever understand? And then he went right back into the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and the preaching. He could understand, even though it's so low, our consciousness, still, the Hare Krishna mantra is much more powerful. Just like every December, if you're coming down Grand Avenue, the corner of Grand and Ingraham, there's always, they usually get a billboard there, the Christians. Yes, and there's a beautiful picture of Christ there, like and doing Sankirtan, right? And from his heart, his golden heart, there's a shaft of light. And what is the message on there? Your sins may be great, but something mercy. Yes, the mercy of Jesus is even stronger. So that's the point. Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, but this chanting, the Sankirtan movement, is much, much stronger. And Prabhupada gets into detail about what the problems are. That, of course, it's our duty as followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to spread the Krishna conscious movement. And our enthusiasm to spread the Krishna conscious movement is based upon, of course, is based upon the mercy of Guru and Krishna, but also our own realization that it works, right? Just like a bunch of devotees have gotten the flu recently. So let's say you get the flu and you take something and in 24 hours it's gone. It's like you feel better than you've ever felt. You'd be very enthusiastic to tell the other devotees, Prabhu, take this. Like that. You're so enthusiastic because it worked for you. So to the extent we're practicing Krishna consciousness and feeling its the benefit, and feeling ourselves the Cheto Darpana Marjanam, the cleansing of the heart. And this verse is talking about Sattva Gun, the mode of goodness. And Prabhupada was saying it establishes the mode of goodness in one's heart. And cleanliness. Cleanliness means free from the different anartas. Anartas. Anartas sometimes is translated as unnecessary things or unwanted things. Now, if you're a gross materialist, you want all those things in your heart, right? You really want all those things. They just love lust, anger, and greed. Yes. Right. Lust, anger, greed. I love it. More lust, more anger, more greed, right? Greed is good. Wall Street and so on. Okay. So it depends on who you are, but those things actually people, and sometimes people go to a psychiatrist if they're not feeling lusty or greedy or like, what's wrong with you? And they call it the zest or lust for life. You have nothing, you have no desire. What's wrong? What's wrong with you? Actually, materialists will think something's wrong with you. You just don't want to do anything in this world. But for devotee, all these things are anarta. Right? They're pollutions in the heart because they're the antithesis of Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada's saying here that based upon this, and it's a bodily concept of life, Prabhupada's saying, I am this body. He's saying here, this is the big thing in the heart. As long as we identify with the body and the mind, what can we do? Because the body and mind automatically pull us down. And Prabhupada's referring to, I guess they're working on the philosophy book here, and he's talking about Thomas Huxley. Now, Thomas Huxley, he had a nickname. You know what his nickname was? Darwin's Bulldog. Do you know that? He was an English philosopher, and if it wasn't for him, Darwinism would not have gone very far at all. Because Charles Darwin was pretty much a recluse. He was a sickly kind of guy, and he spent most of his time, even though he wrote his own book. Was it Origins? What was the name of his book? Origins of Species. It wouldn't have gone anywhere, but this Thomas Huxley was a friend of his, and he was lecturing all over England. And there was one famous lecture with a bishop in England. And apparently it didn't go well with the bishop. And Mr. Huxley was so fired up about evolution, he made one very interesting statement. He said, I would rather have descended from monkeys than from a bishop like you. So he was really fired up, very, very fired up. Definitely in the bodily concept of life and trying to prove it, right? There's no God, there's no soul, there's just evolution, like that. And probably his idea was the pinnacle of evolution is to take birth as a Englishman. No, as an Englishman, like that. So, bodily concept of life. And one identifies with the material body. So how to become free? And if one is identifying with the body, even though it may hurt our ego, saeva gokara. Saeva gokara. There's really no difference between us, a cow or an ass, an animal. Now that may say, what are you talking about? You calling me? Was it you doing that the other day? You talking to me? You calling me a cow or an ass? Is that what you're saying? So in Sankirtan, the book table is, you're no better than a cow or ass. Would you say that to someone at your book table? Depends, okay. Hatchet preaching here, okay. But people get offended if you call them a cow or an ass, or a dog, hog, dog, camel, or ass, right? That's one another verse, second canto. But what it means is that the mentality is the same. If all you're thinking about is eating, sleeping, mating, defending, what really is the difference? What's the difference? Because all the different species of life, they're engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and do it in different ways. You got birds and beasts and fish and mammals and this and that and insects. So obviously there's variety there, but it's really the exact same thing. They're doing it in different ways. But it's the same four things. So if we're doing the four same things, then there's really no difference in our consciousness. That's the point. And as long as we identify with the body, our body will force us. Force us. There's no way to escape it. It will force us to engage in just these activities. So we have to become free from the bodily concept of life. And that's just Ceto Darpana Marjanam. The heart becomes purified. And that is the first of the 7 glories of chanting Hare Krishna. Ceto Darpana Marjanam Bhavamaha Devakni Devapanam. So first the heart becomes purified. Isn't that amazing? I mean, spiritual activities are meant to purify the heart. If they don't purify the heart, then either a person is not practicing them properly, or it's not a very good spiritual practice. It's not working, right? People say, I'm a very spiritual person, I'm a very religious person, but if we don't see that they've given up irreligious, gross materialistic activities, then something's wrong. That doesn't fit. It doesn't fit at all. So that's the test. So this purification of the heart, cessation of material existence, all these different blessings and benedictions are there to the chanting of Hare Krishna. And to the extent we are excited about it, because we're experiencing it ourselves, we're very happy to tell other people about it, and that's the Sankirtan movement. And just to be part of the Sankirtan movement is so glorious. Just like when an army wins, or one country wins a war over another, whoever was in the service, they're all glorified, right? Those who are on the front line, those who are supporting them, those who are manufacturing. We won, right? Just like a team. What's a sport you like watching? I just say if you do. It's like football. Okay, Suresh was like soccer or football, American football. Which one, Suresh? What do you watch on Sundays? Soccer or football? Okay, Hare Krishna. But so when the team wins, they win. Doesn't matter if you're the quarterback. It's very important as the quarterback in our football, right? I don't know the other positions, but the whole team wins. Everyone wins. So as the Sankirtan movement goes forward, and one success after the next, so many millions of books are distributed, temples are open, people are practicing Krishna consciousness and happy, and it's affecting the whole atmosphere of the world. Everyone wins. Everyone on the Sankirtan team wins, right? Everyone wins. The devotees who are actually out on the book table, the ones who are producing the books. I mean, that takes some time too, to produce the book, editing the books, like that. The artists painting the pictures, like that. Devotees back at the temple are making sure there's prasadam for the Sankirtan devotees and worshiping the deities. There's so many things to keep the army going. But when you win, everyone wins. like that. So to be part, and Prabhupada Maharaj says this, I don't know where it's from, but just to be a nut and a bolt. I don't know if it's in Prabhupada or Tamal Krishna Maharaj, just to be a nut and bolt in the Krishna conscious movement is wonderful. Just even maybe insignificant position, but you're in the Krishna conscious movement, so you're getting all the blessings and benefit of the Sankirtan movement. So we should be very, very enthusiastic. Because otherwise, how will all of this Kali Yuga, and we can't stop Kali Yuga, we can't stop it, but we can stop the effects within the heart of ourselves and other individuals. It's like if there's a rainstorm coming, you can pass out umbrellas. You have an umbrella and you can pass out umbrellas to others. So that's what's happening in the age of Kali. Otherwise, you know, what's going to happen? You know, how is it all going to stop? How's it all? Unless people's hearts are purified and they revive their divine consciousness, what's going to happen? There's no other real cure for all these problems. Everything else is makeshift at best, and usually it's a part of the problem, right? The so-called solutions are actually problems too, right? Oh, we got an energy problem, so let's use solar energy, or let's use electric cars. Now they're starting to list all the problems with electric cars. And the point is, these cars, when you make a car, you think about it, we don't think about like all these different things we use, where it comes from. If you start going back to those metal mines all over the world where they have to dig all the metal out of the earth and the glass, you know, they're saying there's actually becoming a shortage of sand because all the glass needed for cars and buildings and everything. So all the plastics and all the metal and all this, and I mean, it's using it up like anything. It's not being recycled. So everything we use practically in this day and age, if you back it out where it came from, it's horrible. It's a horrible, what's being done to the environment and this and that and so on. And so another, the point I'm making is even something like, well, let's have electric cars. But all the components of electric car are also unnatural and destroying the environment too, on all levels. So it's Kali Yuga. Even their solutions are problems. More problems, more problems. So, Prahlad Maharaj, right? Yeah. Yeah. So, hearts have to become purified. Like that. Okay. Oh my goodness, we went over. And I was just getting started. Okay, I'm sorry. Actually, Thomas Huxley, he was the one that came up with the term agnostic. So you got to give him a little credit. In the sense that he said if you don't, on both sides, you don't really know. I don't really know if there's a God. I don't really know if there isn't a God. That's agnostic. Instead of saying, definitely there's no God. I know for a fact. How do you know for a fact? So he was, in that sense, agnostic means a little bit honest. You know, he wasn't really sure. So I'll end here.
Agnostic. It's a very interesting dimension to that word. Because Prabhupada, you know, in the editing I see that, well, he's using it to mean atheist, but it's not actually atheistic. And I think what happened with that is that it sounds just like Gnostica. Gnostic, which means atheistic. Gnostic means he doesn't exist, not asti. So when you see that, he may be using it for, you know, that you don't know. And the thing is, a serious agnostic will not only think that I don't know, but he'll be absolutely sure that no one can know. That's the hardcore agnostic. Otherwise, yeah, right. We were all agnostic. I was agnostic. I didn't know. You know.
Good point. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you for the class. I want to ask you, you very nicely explained that if anyone is a part of Sankirtan movement, then he, like team win and he also win. But my question is everyone? Oh no. If is anyone conscious participate or unconscious? Is it difference between he will get more benefits or no? If, for example, he conscious do
Very
it
good question.
and unconscious.
Yes. Yeah, very, very good. In other words, just being a warm body here, not enough. And it's according to our surrender, Krishna reciprocates. Yeyitamam bhajante. Yes, that's the point. So any insincere devotee, whether on the front line or back line or whatever, they will get something different than one who's very, very sincere on the front line or back here, because Krishna is reciprocating with our love and our devotion. But the point is, it doesn't matter where you are in the Sankirtan movement, if you're serving very faithfully with love and devotion, Krishna will reciprocate with you, and you'll feel that great happiness in seeing the success of the Sankirtan movement. So that's a good point. It's a matter of consciousness, yes. That's this. Okay. Want to hear an interesting story? It's been on my mind since I was at someone's house on Sunday, Saturday and Sunday. I was up there, very well-to-do, very cultured Indian family. Wonderful family. This is an engagement ceremony, and I'm doing the wedding. And the South Indian, and the woman said, "Oh, you want to see my puja room?" Oh yeah, I'll take darshan. And I knew probably more or less it's going to be, you know who, Durga or Shiva, or, and they had a few different murtis there. And during the puja, they said her husband's gotra was Shiv. So I figured there'd probably be a picture of Lord Shiva. So I walked in, paid my obeisances, and on the altar was a really big picture of this middle-aged Indian couple sitting on a throne next to each other. So I figured, this must be your guru. Is this your guru? She goes, "Oh yes, this is my spiritual master." And I noticed the Shiva Lingam there. I said, "Is your family devotees of Lord Shiva?" He said, "Well, we used to be, but now I'm following so-and-so. And he's a Parama something or other, that everything's God. Everything's God. That way," she said, that way you don't miss anyone. His teachings are impersonalism. In other words, all the deities, it's ultimate. And she pointed this little picture about this big, a little circle there of white light. And she said, that's reality. Very deep. Anyways, just thinking, Hare Krishna. So we have to really push the Sankirtan movement. I did leave them a big stack of books and a thumb drive with the Bhagavad-gītā on it and everything. So hopefully the poison is entered and there's no cure for them in Prabhupada's books and some other books. But I thought that was wild. Hare Krishna. So it's even you want to be religious, you get misled. That was the point in the age of Kali. People are misrepresenting the Vedic message, the Gita, and all that. It's just like, what in the world is going on?
One of the most prominent religious trends in America is the prosperity theology. Prosperity, Do you have to plant the seed? Just send me the donation, and God will reciprocate. You'll become rich. Thousands of people going. But the thing is, it's the present political situation is like that also. Just buy these sneakers, buy this, send in and everything will be fine. And people are falling for it.
Yeah. So, all proof that the Sankirtan movement has to be spread as enthusiastically as possible. So we're all very, very fortunate to be part of it like that. Hare Krishna. So we can end here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the Sankirtan devotees, which means pretty much everyone. Hare Krishna.